Hi there. Welcome back. Rendezvous with Rambabu, episode 28. We are immensely great to meet you again with the wonderful concept self-talk. Again with Doc Andrea from Oklahoma City, USA. We are giving assurance by the end of this episode. Definitely you will learn something. You know what is self-talk, how helps the self-talk concept to grow. So don't miss and give your support. Now it's time to request our guest to introduce herself on behalf of our viewers and platform. We are really curious to know a little bit about you. Could you please?
Oh my goodness. Well, hello everyone. I am a 𝐿 and I am just so grateful to be here with you. Just because the sun is going down, we're rising up. And I want to talk to you about self-talk. I'm a life coach with Maxwell Leadership Foundation and also with Self-Talk Institute, which I absolutely love. I've been mentored and from the process of continually being mentored by Dr. Shad Helmstetter, who is the guru, they call him the dean of self-talk. Settle in, as we say in America, put your seatbelt on. And there's a saying that says you're in for a bumpy ride. You won't be in for a bumpy ride. You're going to be in for a comfortable ride when we learn all about self-talk. And you know what? One thing about self-talk, when we have my gadgets, you never stop learning. This is a stop sign. You never stop learning. So you never stop learning about self-talk because they'll move you from point A to point B. So come on, we're ready for you. Bring it on, Coach Rambabu. Bring it on.
Excellent. What an energy you have. Thank you so much. Very happy to know about you. And also, I would like to ask, you have been traveling over 2 years, and you have been contributing a lot for the family. Why do you show this much love on this foundation? And what do you comment on the community, what it has been doing? We want to know that, please.
Okay. I'll have to tell you the truth. It was about 2 years. I believe in prayer. And I said, God, you know what? I give up. I'm not using my talents. I'm not using my gifts. I said, what am I doing? I just felt so discouraged, so down. All the knowledge that I have, I just really wasn't incorporating and applying it, using it. And all of a sudden, how many of you know you got to be careful when you pray because God will answer your prayer? Got a call from somebody named Rambabu, and it was at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, who is this person? And in fact, I told you several times, listen, I'm not, just leave me alone, leave me alone. I'm glad you didn't leave me alone because I've become a part of the 𝐿. I've invited Dr. Smiley to be part of the 𝐿 and other friends because you know what? We learn from one another. You're all the way in India and I'm all the way in America, but we learn from one another. I have learned so much as being a part of the 𝐿 Global Foundation. Now it's 𝐿 America. And you've helped me. You've guided me. You've pushed me up. You've pushed me. You've been the wind beneath my wings and you've helped me to soar, 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 soar. SOAR. And sometimes you push so hard, I become SORE, soar. But you know what? It's a good kind of pain. And I am just so glad to be able to share my experience with Maxwell Leadership Foundation, with the Self-Talk Institute. And I'm grateful. I'm so glad that God answered my prayer and introduced me to Coach Rambabu and my friends in India, my friends from New Delhi, my friends from the Philippines, my friends from Canada, my friends from Mauritius. Because we're family. We have a song in America that says, we are family. I got all my brothers and my sisters with me. Well, you're my brothers and my sisters. So that's why I'm still here.
It's interesting. Yeah, really, we feel like a family. We also feel very happy to be or to see as one of the family heads in this foundation. Really, Coach. Keep it up. And now we are going to enter into the main interview, self-talk for your success. According to me, self-talk brings the innermost feelings from our conscious mind. And also self-talk makes us to know who we are, who I am. And self-talk helps us to know what kind of society, the surroundings around us. So self-talk helps us a lot. And self-talk gives some kind of voice or sound from your background. It is like a running commentary. So speaking to you and you is very important. There is another you inside. Usually we talk like sixth sense. So how you want to talk to yourself? We are going to learn from our guest of honor, Doc Andrea. Before that, don't forget to give your support. If you give your support, we will able to do many more sessions, and we can invite these kind of coaches with interesting concepts. So like, share, comment, and smash the bell symbol. Thank you so much. I just fastened my seat belt. I'm ready.
Okay, ready to take off.
Yes.
Yeah.
According to you, what is self-talk?
I have notes, and these I'm going to talk to you about the 30 tenets of self-talk, written by Dr. Shad Helmstetter. We just call him Dr. Shad.
Okay.
Talk is simply positive self-talk is the process of using repetition to rewire your brain with new programs that work for you instead of against you. And I'll tell you why that's necessary. Listen to this. From the moment that you were born, all of us are programmed from birth. All of us, not every single one of us, are programmed from birth. And so everything that we've seen, everything that we have heard, everything we've experienced has repeatedly been wired where? Into our brain. Now, listen to this. During the first 18 years of our lives, and we consider 18 as being an adult, if you grew up in a home that was even a positive home, you heard the word no. Listen to this, or what you cannot do. 148,000 times you heard the word no, or you just can't do it. So what do you have to do? You have to rewire your brain. You have to program it, and that, you know what? That's negative. Listen to this. 77% of our programming that we have heard, it's negative. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, trying to run having a program called Share Every Global Foundation, gathering people from all over the world, not just in India, all over the world, having coaches, learning from each other, studying from each other. Do you think you are? It's one of that's negative 77% of the programming. But how do you escape that? Guess what? There's a way to escape that. And I love this word. love this word. It's called neuroplasticity. In fact, I have so many of Dr. Helmstetter's books, Dr. Shad's books. He's written over 20 books. And the one that I read, it's called The Power of Neuroplasticity. Now, when you look at the word neuro, Neuro, that automatically brain, just brain. Plasticity is elastic. Plastic. You see the word plastics. That's where we get the word plasticity. Plastic. So since your brain is always changing, your brain will change. Your brain does not stop growing at a certain age. When you're 18, when you're 21, when you're 41, when you're 65, 100, your brain does not stop changing because of its neuroplasticity, because of the fact that your brain is elastic, because you can stretch it. You can continually to rewire your brain, and that's the key word, rewire your brain throughout your entire lifetime. So that's where self-talk comes in. And once you continually rewind your brain, that's what we call programs, programs, programs. First of all, you get to listen to this. You receive your programs from the world around you, from the atmosphere around you, and then from your own self-talk. Friend, that's why it's so important to watch your self-talk. The strongest of these sources, not what the world says, not what your atmosphere around you says, not even what your circumstances say, it's your self-talk. Self-talk.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, coach, as you mentioned, self-talk is also two categories, the positive self-talk as well as the negative self-talk.
Mhm.
And the positive self-talk all the time reminds us the brighter side. And the negative self-talk gives all the time the negative side. As we mentioned, 77% of our brain programs all the time. Dark side only, it tells you can't do this. You are not fit. You are not
Mhm.
fit. You can't reach. Don't compare with her or with him. So he is so far. So likewise, and as I mentioned, whenever we become so positive to talk to yourself, mostly by picking the positive affirmations, so definitely we can overcome from this negativity. I mentioned the neuroplasticity. It's a kind of spongy. We can compress or we can stretch.
Exactly.
Beautiful answer you have given. Now, my next question, this is for you. Why do you love most and what you are thinking to make the people inspire or bring awareness on this concept by adding your own experiences, your own anecdotes from your life? Could you please?
Yes. How do I become interested in self-talk? Well, I started reading the book. I just saw the book. This may sound silly, just like the word neuroplasticity. I just think that's such a cool word. Neuroplasticity. I teach at the prison and I talk about neuroplasticity. And I was walking across the prison yard one day and I heard one of my students say, "Oh, today we learned about neuroplasticity," because it sounds like such an important word. And when you break it down, it simply means that your brain is stretched. And I started reading Dr. Shad's books and I got a hold of him and he told me about the program. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an encourager. This is what I've been placed on this earth to do. My job is to build people up. It's just to encourage them, to help them get from point A to point B. And self-talk and teaching on self-talk will help them to do it. I've said so many negative things about myself for so many times. When I discovered this, I said, oh no, I'm not letting it go. I'm going to tell everyone about self-talk. So it was from that book, The Power of Neuroplasticity, that really got me interested in it. And in fact, in the book, on one of the pages, it says that this book was printed in Tagalog. Is that one of your countries, one of your languages in English? Telugu. So that was interesting. And then I started reading another one of his books, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. A lot of people say, okay, I talk to myself. What do I say? So Dr. Shad tells us, what do you say when you talk to yourself? And I've realized how self-talk will help someone. I have like 8 of his books, but this is one of my favorite books. The other one's in the car. I keep it in the trunk because I take this to the prisons. And this is called 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk. So what do is I read something positive every single day. So today's June 25th. It says, I stand up for my goals. I consider the thoughts of others whose input is positive and supportive, but the choice of my path in life is up to me. Self-talk. You've got to encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. Don't wait for someone else to do it. They have their own lives. It's up to you to take and encourage yourself. Yeah. You can't wait for other people to do it. Encourage yourself.
Yes. See, with the self-talk, we can encourage ourselves by talking to ourselves. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And also, you raised the point, I am here to bring up the people, to give my assistancy by letting people holding my little finger. And also, I love the statement what you have given just before. That is, with the self-talk, you can improve and you can encourage, and also it shows you your path. But most of the people, they depend on others by not talking to themselves, but we ignore. Most of the time, we depend on others, we listen to others, but we don't listen to our mind, our brain. Listening to ourselves is most important to attain your success. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking this kind of such a tricky concept for sharing your experiences through this podcast, coach. My next question is self talk a new age phenomena? Many people they don't concentrate on this concept. What is self talk? What is my inner voice? How I want to listen to my inner voice? How I want to find out my inner voice? So, according to you, is this new age phenomenon?
Absolutely not. When you think about the wisest man in the world, goes all the way back to Israel, King Solomon. He said himself that death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
So your tongue, your mouth, even I'm a believer. Bible says when God created, he spoke, he said things. He created the world just by his mouth. So if he created the world by his mouth, shouldn't we create the world by our mouths? Death and life are in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
So it's not a new age phenomenon. It's something that's been around since the beginning of mankind. We've just taken it and we've tweaked it. So Solomon, Jesus, they all talked about self-talk. Jesus even said himself, he says, by your words, by your words, you will be condemned. So our words are so important. Our self-talk is so important. Some of us would never say to ourselves, boy, you're a failure. You're stupid. You'll never make it. We would never say that to anyone else. Why are we saying it to ourselves, my friend? Why? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So no, self-talk is not a new age phenomenon. It's been around since the beginning of mankind.
The tongue is the best tool to destroy and design both powers. It is a powerful tool, but we should use that weapon in appropriate way. Otherwise, it destroys everything. It has power.
I just thought about this. When you go to a doctor, what does he tell you? Stick your tongue out. He looks at your tongue to see how your body is because the tongue is so important. So the doctor will check your tongue to see what's going on in the inside of you.
Yeah.
Check your tongue to see what's coming out of your mouth. Bam, bam, that's good. Ooh, I'm happy. I'm happy. Let me spin around. I gotta spin around. Okay, I'm spinning around. Now I'm gonna get dizzy. It's that. The doctor checks your tongue to see what's going on in your body.
Yes.
Check your tongue to see what's coming out of your mind, what's coming out of your mouth, what's coming out in your life. Your tongue. You are hung with your tongue.
You are hung with your tongue. What a phrase. Really beautiful. Thank you so much. Let me go to the next question. Many people has a huge confusion in this area. It is small, but it is powerful. So what is the difference between affirmation and self-talk? How we can make it separate, or both are same? Or is there any slight difference between these two?
Okay.
Could you please?
Positive self-talk goes beyond affirmations. No, we're not saying anything negative about affirmations. Affirmations are good. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're good. Positive self-talk goes beyond affirmations. Why? Because affirmations are they're just temporary. But repeated self-talk, remember we talked about the word repetition. Repeated self-talk is active, it's specific, and it creates a long-term change in the brain. That's why we talk about neuroplasticity. We want to get to the brain. It creates a long-term changes in the brain. That's because you're repeatedly listening to positive self-talk. What does that do? That's literally rewiring your brain. Affirmations are wonderful. We enjoy affirmations, but they're temporary. Self-talk is not. It's permanent.
Self-talk is huge and the affirmation is apart in the self-talk.
Exactly.
Yes. So, and self-talk has a wider sense, but affirmation does not.
Self-talk is so important, but it's positive self-talk, my friend. Positive self-talk.
Yeah. Thank you. This would be the last question in this interview. And also, as picked up our title for this podcast, Self-Talk for Your Success. Many aspirants or the interested people running behind various platforms or they have been learning many things from n number of coaches, trainers, speakers, mentors, moderators. But here, the interesting question is there any connection between life coaching and the self talk to reach our end target or success? What do you say on that?
Absolutely, because a life coach will help you with self-talk. I was doing even has a coaching program that I'm certified to teach, and I would have a person call me every single week, and I would give him the self-talk that I wanted him to work on. So yes, you don't separate. It's like water in the wet. You don't separate coaching with self-talk. They must work in tangent. They must work hand in hand, like water in the wet. You don't separate them. When you're coaching your person, you tell them, you teach them about self-talk. And in fact, one of the persons that I was coaching on self-talk, I said, "Are you going to do this?" He says, "No." He goes, "I'm trying to lose weight," but he goes, "I know if I do this self-talk," he says, it works so well, so I'm not ready to do it yet. That's how important, that's how strong self-talk is. And it gives you hope. Repetition, repetition, repetition is the key to success in anything. You have to encourage people. You may be saying, "Well, Andrea, I'm in prison. How can I encourage people? How can I encourage in prison?" Whenever I go to the prisons, my students, I walk in whatever class I teach, I take this book with me. And I teach them about self-talk very briefly. Walk into the classroom, the inmate will take this book from my hand. He will look at the date, and he will write it on the board for the rest of the inmates, and they sit there and they copy it because they believe in themselves, because they want to learn about self-talk. And I asked Dr. Helmstead or Dr. Shad, I said, "Dr. Shad, I teach in a prison. Would you please write a self-talk just for my inmates?" And he was so kind to do it. Now, this is self-talk for people in the prison. You may not be in a physical prison like I am when I teach, but you may be in a mental prison. This is what he says. "I have purpose and value and a reason for being. There is a road of positive promise I am destined to follow. I choose to make the story of the good I can do for the benefit and the well-being of others an important part of my today, my tomorrow, and my life." Believe in that. Believe in positive self-talk for your purpose, my friend, and you will go a very long way. And another way you can go is to join us with the Share Every Global Foundation. Become part of our family. We won't let you go. We're going to sit there. We're going to encourage you. We're going to build you up. There's a song, "Build me up, buttercup, don't tear me down." We will build you up. We will encourage you. We'll take your hand. You will learn from us. We will learn from you, and we will be together. Because you know what? Am I my brother's keeper? Absolutely. Why am I not shaking my head? Let me nod my head. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. To be frank, we are so happy to be with Share Every, the people like you. As our topic says, most of our life spends in our head. So that is why at the beginning I told it is a running commentary in the background all the time while we doing a mistake or while we reaching something which we didn't expect before. Automatically our mind tells, "Yes, you succeed, you got, you achieved." So all the time, our mind talk to ourselves. I learned two things from you, Doc Andrea. Number one, you never put down your energy. You all the time, the energy will be like Wi-Fi around you. I think it is 5G. And as the second important thing, the people should learn, even me too. And you read many books. You go through many life stories or lifelines. And there is a statement in English. Today's reader is tomorrow's leader. So we all going to see you as a great leader for the next generation by extracting some of the life lessons or things which help us to grow ourselves from your self-talk and from your experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that because you have to grow yourself to grow yourself and to help other people grow. And listen to this. If your message is repeated often enough, the brain will be rewired, whether it's true or not. So why don't you wire your brain to listen to positive, to listen to the self-talk? We must, my friends.
That's it for today, the podcast 28. If you all permit, we would love to meet you again with another interesting concept very soon. If you have any sort of doubts or queries, don't forget to give in the comment section below on YouTube. Definitely, our guest doc Andrea will answer for all your questions. Talk to yourself and make the people walk along with you. And try to be unique yourself by talking to yourself. I'd like to appreciate for her huge knowledge by sharing her experiences open-heartedly. Namaste.
Namaste.